This broadcast is the property of Codependents Anonymous. Reproduction without written permission from Codependents Anonymous is not permitted.
Welcome to the February edition of the February 2024 of the CoDA Fellowship Forum. Today's topic is CoDA sponsorship. This forum is intended as a follow-up to the Outreach's second annual sponsor-sponsee workshop that occurred about 2 weeks ago. James, do you have any introductory material you would like to add?
I just wrote up 5 things, if you wouldn't mind if I read them.
Please.
Finding a sponsor in CoDA is difficult. In page 99 in the big blue book, what is sponsor? What is a sponsor? Step 5 says, I will admit to God, to myself, and to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. I will be in a personal relationship with the sponsor or with this person who is a sponsor. Sponsors are people within the CoDA program who helped guide us through the 12 steps recovery process. These people are recovering codependents whose personal recovery is their priority. They continue to learn how to live happy and fulfilling lives and are willing to share their experience, strength, and hope with us. They've usually walked the road of recovery longer than we have. They're who we call for help when we are confused or overwhelmed. They can also be friends who work the program with us. 2, mine was hiding in plain sight. Although it took me many years to find him, I trusted in my higher power and he delivered it. But through prayer, talking to God, and meditation, listening for the answers, that is the essential for sponsorship and recovery in general. And this is from page 100, also in the big blue book. How do I find a sponsor? The CoDA pamphlet sponsorship in CoDA lists some suggestions for finding a sponsor when there are a few old timers within our fellowship. New CoDA groups usually have members with long histories in other 12-step programs, both as members and as sponsors. While they may not have experience with CoDA's application of the steps, they do understand what it means to work the 12 steps in their daily life. Such a person may be a candidate to sponsor. To sponsor you, there is a form of sponsorship arising out of this kind of situation called co-sponsorship. If you choose this method, you and another CoDA member will sponsor each other. You can meet regularly to share what you are learning about the steps from others from reading the CoDA literature. As you discuss various aspects of the program, you may become aware that each of you has some answers within. Some CoDA members have started sponsorship groups which meet weekly or bi-weekly. This group consists of people who make a commitment to work the 12 steps together. Discussion is focused on applying the steps to specific issues that they are related to recovery from codependence. And 3, be flexible and try to meet your sponsee where they are, not where you are. People are in very vulnerable state when they find themselves relating to all these patterns and characteristics. Many of them have overcome other addictions and should be given credit for how far they have come. And 4, we come from confusion and chaos to love, compassion, and understanding. For many of us, it is the childhood wounds and the family secrets that have kept us in the shame spiral that is our life. Then we find our first meeting with the preamble, the welcome, and the 12 promises that give us so much hope. And 5, when I was small, My parents and adults did not love me right. I tried to hide. I was afraid of the hurt and the pain. I wanted to go away, but now I can see light and healing in the meetings and the words and the CoDA literature. I search for some trust. I search for someone to trust. In the 12-step work, they are known as sponsors. And that's all I wrote today, David. Thank you for letting me read.
Thank you, James. Okay. I'm going to put some links in the chat where you can find the recordings of the fellowship forum and other information about the CoDA Fellowship Forum. Today's topic is sponsorship. And if you weren't here for the opening announcements, a gentle reminder, these meetings, the Fellowship Forum is recorded. The recordings are posted at the Fellowship Forum website and the CoDA YouTube channel. Links are in the chat for that. Today's topic is sponsorship. This month's forum is intended as a follow-up to the Outreach second annual sponsorship workshop. This is not an occasion to find a sponsor, although you might find one here. And I'll also put I'll put links in the chat to the two documents CoDA documents that were just mentioned. One, the brochure, the trifold on sponsorship and CoDA, and then the booklet, Sponsorship, What's in It for Me. Excellent. The trifold, Sponsorship and CoDA, is a download you can get for free, and Sponsorship, What's in It for Me, is a booklet you can purchase at the CoDA store, corepublications.org. Links in the chat. I have not, the unmute is not disabled. And James, unless you have something else to add, we have quite a few people here today. Great to see you all here. And if you would like to share your experience with sponsorship, being a sponsee, finding a sponsor, what you have learned about sponsorship in CoDA, please raise your hand and unmute yourself. I'll welcome you. And we'd love to hear what you have to say about your experience with sponsorship in Codependence Anonymous. And
hello, my name is Alban. I am French.
Welcome, Amana.
I don't know where I have to check to put my little hand.
Uh-huh.
Find it.
Okay. If anyone's having trouble with raising your hand, then it's in reactions at the bottom of your Zoom. If you're on a computer, there's a options bar at the bottom of the Zoom where you can find reactions. If you click on that, the raise hand is an option in reactions. If you're on a phone, it's a little different. And so I can't tell everyone that's on a phone or on a computer. So if no one's speaking and you would like to speak, just unmute yourself and speak. There, you did it, Albana. Well done.
So my name is Alban. I am French, and I apologize for my accent and for my mistakes when I speak English. I represent all the groups speaking French in Europe or in the world. And I am a sponsor for the new people who come in the groups, and I find it really interesting and important for me because I don't know what is written here on my, voilà. It's important for me because since I am in the meetings, I have opened my heart and I think I understand what it is not to be alone, but to be in a group and to consider that we are all interdependent, not codependent, but interdependent, and that we need each other. And the first ones on the road takes the end of the people following, and show them the what we can do, and we give the message, and it's really important for me to sponsor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alvena. Anyone else would like to take a share on their experience with sponsorship in CoDA? Yes, James, welcome.
Thank you, David. I wanted to mention how much work we've done creating the surveys and creating the sponsorship spreadsheet. And we have an address now, don't we? Do you have that address?
Yes.
Sponsorship team or something?
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a spreadsheet where we put sponsors on one side and sponsees on the other side. And when we had the sponsorship workshop, the ratio was about 100 sponsees to 25 sponsors. But we can overcome that, and we can get people together in an organized fashion and pair them up so that they can meet each other. Or maybe we can have Power Fives, which we're doing now. But we have options that we didn't have last year. So this thing is it's evolving into something much better every time we have a workshop. So I wanted to make everybody aware of that. Do we have any links to the surveys and all that,
yes,
David?
I have put 2 links, the link to the I'm willing to be a CoDA sponsor and I need a CoDA sponsor. Those are links are in the chat. If you fill out these surveys, and I hope that you are able to do that, the information is going to the chair of the communications committee, who is working on developing a process by which sponsees and sponsors can get connected in this new era of so many virtual meetings, phone meetings, Zoom meetings, Facebook meetings, chat meetings in onlinecoda.net. It's 50% or more of CoDA meetings are now virtual meetings. The good news is it just makes so many meetings available for people who are not within proximity of an in-person meeting. CoDA is more available now than it's ever been. It's generating questions about how sponsors and sponsees can get connected. Back in the day, in in-person meetings, it was different. I could see not the people who were sharing. I could identify a person who had the recovery I wanted for myself, and I could approach that person and ask that person if they did sponsorship and if they'd be willing to sponsor me. Now, it's all in a virtual world, and we have to figure out a whole new way for sponsors and sponsees to get connected. So we're working on that, and we've been working on it for a while. We're making progress. There's a lot of moving parts to get into position here. So thanks for your patience, and always open to ideas and suggestions, because In CoDA, it's about guidance, not governance, and we need to figure this out so that we can guide ourselves in the right direction. I have some more links. I will put in the chat the email addresses and the Canadian sponsorship information, the links for that shortly. There was someone who had a hand up, and you put your hand down. I believe that was Pat. Pat, would you like to share?
Yes, thank you. That was some good points you made about.
Can you move a little close? Sorry, Pat. Sorry to interrupt. Can you move a little closer to your microphone or pickup? Having trouble hearing you.
Okay, is that better?
Not really. I'm making my speakers very loud. Try again, please.
Is that any better?
A little bit.
Okay, well, maybe I just need to talk louder.
Yeah.
So there was some good points you made about how it's changed, being able to pick a sponsor. And I know that it's very important, and in the CoDA literature, it talks about sponsorship being a very valuable tool. I highly recommend it for sure, because I needed people to share their experience with me when I got here, and because if I just kept going at it with the same mind that I came in with, I wasn't going to get very far in healing. And it's wonderful that you have these forums so people can figure it out. And I know you're all working on this new technology and how we can connect people. And I really appreciate all that you've done. But I want to encourage people to keep trying, no matter how challenging it might be to find someone. And even if you pick someone at first, it might not be a great fit after a while, and it's okay to part ways amicably and find someone else that fits. But it's cool that there are a lot of people out there that are willing to do it via text or phone or whatever. I find it more challenging to sponsor people in a text because I dislike typing, but on a phone call, I do a lot more of that now than I used to. I used to meet people in person as sponsors and sponsees. But I just want to encourage people to keep trying and keep reaching out. No matter how challenging it might seem, it will happen, I believe. And you guys are doing a great job to try to bring this together and meet the new technology. And I just know for me personally, it's a two-way street. I get as much out of sponsoring someone that they get out of being sponsored. It's just a tremendous. I stay connected, and it's one of the things I do, and it might be really weird, that whenever I suggest an assignment for someone to do, I do it as well as what I tell them to do, and it keeps it fresh and it keeps me on task, and it kind of makes me accountable. But it is a two-way street, and it's very fulfilling. But I do really sincerely want to encourage people to keep trying, keep reaching out. There are so many online meetings now, and there aren't so many available for some people. But you guys are doing tremendous work to keep this alive and to bring sponsorship availability to people. And I deeply appreciate that. It's probably the single most important tool that I've been able to use that has kept me alive. If I hadn't found CoDA and people willing to sponsor me, I believe I would not be alive today. So a really sincere, heartfelt thanks for what you're doing. That's all I have.
Thank you, Pat. Those are very good points. Thank you for mentioning them. Excellent. And I see we have some more hands. Johnny, welcome. You'll be followed by Charlene.
Thank you, David. I appreciate the opportunity. Before I came to CoDA, I had 18 months at an in-person meeting because I started CoDA online with COVID. And I had done some sponsorship in the in-person meeting, but it was with another program. And my experience with sponsorship with that program wasn't very positive. So by the time I got to CoDA, I really was ready for a more positive experience. And, but I was also willing to stay with the meetings, work the program, and hopefully wait for the right person to come along. So I joined a women's meeting online in March, April of 2020. And about May, this lady popped into our meeting. She showed up for 2 meetings. I really liked her. I liked how very direct she was, black and white she was. There was just really, I clicked with her. She and I couldn't be more different, but I liked the way she worked her program. And she said she was willing to sponsor. She would sponsor groups. She would sponsor one-on-one. So I got her email address and I emailed her and emailed her and emailed her. And I prayed to my higher power. I prayed to my God. And I said, please, 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 please. And within a week, she said yes. She had her doubts. She really wasn't sure we'd be a good fit. But here we are. We're still together. And that was, we're almost 4 years together now. And it took the better part of that time. We just finished the 12 steps back in November. And now we're in co-sponsorship mode. And that was an interesting transition, a little awkward to try to figure out what that looked like. But now it's really comfortable. It's kind of hard to go from feeling like she's an authority in my life to feeling more on an even keel. But I'm really comfortable with it. I love the way she sponsored me because we read through the free pamphlets first. We read through the fellowship service manual, and then we got into the steps. It took, I think it took 2 years to get to step 4, and it really built a nice firm foundation. And so consequently, I'm copying that, and I am sponsoring 2 people, and I'm doing them together. They're very happy to do that. They know each other, and we do it, and I'm doing it at their pace. And, as much as codependent as I am, and I would like to make it easy on them, I like the foundation my sponsor gave to me, and I would like to make it easier for them. But I have to remind myself, it's such a solid foundation. I won't change it unless they ask me to, because it is their recovery. It is, I have to go, I make suggestions, but so far they're willing to do as I lead, but I have to be open to their input as well. And certainly I go by their pace. I don't force them to do the pace that I might want to keep. And I really like all the resources for sponsors that CoDA offers. Just always the reminder that I'm not their higher power. And I read through the 12 reminders that CoDA put out for the sponsors to keep me humble before I even open the door to the Zoom room to let them in. So it's a great privilege to do the work, and I will be doing it along with them. I wasn't sure that I would sponsor anybody, but when they asked, it seemed like the right time, and the door just opened. So higher power in action. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for your share, Johnny, and thank you for your service. I'm also going to put links in the chat for the email addresses and Canadian web pages that you see on the screen. What's shared on the screen, those links are now in the chat. I will also put a link in the chat for that webpage if you want to get to that sponsorship information for sponsors and sponsees webpage that Long Island CoDA is building now. Also, you can go to CoDA.org and in the search box, put in the word sponsorship and get links to lots of material. There's a lot of material and it is growing. We're adding more and more material on sponsorship all the time. So check out the CoDA website for sponsorship information. Charlene, welcome.
You're muted.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you now, Charlene.
Okay, I'm on my phone. So to get the information in the chat, is there some way we can get it after the meeting?
Yes. I
That
will,
would be great.
if you send a message that you want the chat information, if you send that to com@coda.org, com@coda.org,
Tom, T-O-M-A?
C-O-M-M, as in Charlie,
C-O-M
Oscar, Mike, C-O-M-M
at CoDA.org.
@coda.org. Let me just verify that I am giving you the correct email address. Yes. If you just mark on that, if you put the word fellowship form or just FF and you want the links from the chat from the February FF links, I will get that message and I will send them to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. I think I first started CoDA about 10 years ago, and I've had like maybe 2 sponsors, but not for very long. So it's been a real challenge. When I first started, CoDA didn't really have a way to help us find a sponsor. They just recommended to go to meetings and find a sponsor there. But there aren't that many meetings where I live. Luckily, there are some meetings. So it's been a real struggle. So now my challenge is finding a sponsor who is further ahead than me. And in all humility, I know that might sound somewhat, but I think it's important to find someone, right, to be a sponsor who seems to be further in the recovery than I am, unless I would co-sponsor with somebody. Any comments?
Well, thank you for your share. I have to say, personally, I am not a big fan of co-sponsorship because while it can work, it can also wind up leading me in an inappropriate direction. If the person I'm co-sponsoring with, if that person and I don't come up with a good answer or a good what's the right word?
Strategy?
If we don't remember to keep higher power in the process, in the conversation, if we reach the limit of our recovery, we might go off in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Now that's also true if, like, I find a sponsor who maybe, yeah, I think that's important regardless, right? Whether we co-sponsor or we are a sponsor-sponsee, is just really keep coming back to our higher power.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I will take that into consideration, and thank you to the speaker who encouraged. It was so encouraging. Keep looking, and thank you for this work that you're doing to make it easier to find sponsors. And yes. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and sharing. Thank you for that share. Yeah, I think what I read in CoDA literature says that co-sponsorship was something CoDA started early in the program when there was a need and there were very few sponsors. And as the program evolved and developed, more people who had journeyed in their recovery became available. And CoDA is more supportive of temporary sponsorship, perhaps Power of Five groups, using the document from Northern California, NorCal CoDA, the working steps 1, 2, and 3, using the 30 questions and their follow-up document, working steps 4 and 5, using the 40 questions. And also, there is, and we're going to work on getting that into being CoDA endorsed material from CoDA Australia, now known as Australasia, the first 14 days workbook, which is an excellent, I feel, introduction to the Codependence Anonymous program of self-recovery. And I haven't put links to that in the chat. It is currently not endorsed material, but you can find it if you search for the first 14 days workbook. That it's available. You can find it. It's really a good introductory material.
Thank you.
If you're done with your share, if you could mute your phone because there is an echo from that. Did you have any more you wanted to share?
There was one thing, and I forgot what it is. I'll raise my hand when I remember it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. And the echo is, you're not echoing. It's anyone that's speaking when your phone is not muted that causes the echo. Just so you know, it happens sometimes. James, did you want to share something?
No, make me co-host so I can help you with the hands.
Yeah. You are co-host.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else have any thing they would like to share in this meeting on sponsorship, being a sponsor, being a sponsee, finding a sponsor? What's your experience with sponsorship in CoDA? I'm going to see if I can't get some links to the 30 and 40 questions document, but you can find them if you go to CoDA.org and you go to meeting materials. You should be able to. Yes, Charlene, you remembered. Welcome.
David, my question is, did you say the power of 5 when you were talking about working steps 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5?
Yes, the power of 5 groups are mentioned in that document, working steps 1, 2, and 3. That's 5 people getting together to work sponsorship using that working steps 1, 2, and 3, using the 30 questions document.
Wow, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. Right. And I pass.
And that's 5 people. There's a much better chance of co-sponsorship being successful when you have 5 people working together, not just 2. So let me see if I can't get a link to that. Those 2 documents, I have that. And I will put that in the chat box. And yes, Danny, you have a hand up. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm Danny. I use they, them pronouns and recovering from codependency. Thank y'all for having this today. I haven't been a sponsor myself, but I wanted to just share my experience as a sponsee and in a Power of Five group. I had joined CoDA about a year and a half ago and decided to do 30 meetings in 30 days, all of them online. And in each meeting, I would just post in the chat that I was looking for a sponsor. And eventually, after a few weeks, someone reached out to me and we had a chat on the phone and hit it off really well. And they became my sponsor. And I've been working with them ever since. Before I did find my sponsor, though, I applied for a Power of Five group and got placed into one of them. And we started working the first 30 questions, and that worked out really well. So I was working the steps simultaneously with my sponsor and in a Power of Five group, and I liked doing them both because I got different ways to work the steps from both experiences, and I feel like kind of got more of a well-rounded perspective on the steps and how to work them. So I really liked that. My group did move on to 40 questions, but then one of our members moved and they switched time zones, so I wasn't able to meet with them anymore. But yeah, so I've stayed with my sponsor the whole time, and that's been a really great experience. Like I said, I've been with them for about a year and a half, and currently I'm on step 8 with them, getting ready to make amends, which I'm looking forward to. And early on, my sponsor had talked to me about the potential of me sponsoring somebody, just that it could happen. Somebody might reach out to me. And at the time, I was like, oh, no, definitely not. I'm not ready for that. And I still don't think I'm really ready right now, but I can feel myself becoming ready to do that. And, I think that's all because of the guidance that I've had from my sponsor and my experience in the Power of Five. So, although I haven't been a sponsor yet, and I'm grateful to hear, the sponsors that have been here and their experience and encouragement to do so. I'm definitely on that path and looking forward to that experience. So, again, thank you for having this. I'm glad that I showed up to this today. So with that, I'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Christine, welcome.
Good. For me, it's good evening because it's Christine from the UK. I'm Christine. I'm codependent in recovery. For me, I'd like to just share quickly my experience of as a sponsee. So I've been doing a step group, which started as a Power of Five, but sometimes we're not always 5. In fact, we started as 6, but sometimes it's 3 of us, sometimes it's 4 of us. It just varies every week. And I've been following the Green Working Book, which has been really good because I was able to also work the tradition, which I find really useful as well as the steps. And then I had the opportunity, I was invited for another group, which was 9 of us. So one person was actually a sponsor and 8 of us are sponsee. And we worked through the 30 questions together, which I found that absolutely amazing to have a bigger group because of share, and also we just gelled so much in that group. So we were able to really open up. And now we've just started the 40 questions. So yeah, we're into that journey. And what's really good is I'm still parallel working with the Green Book with this other step group. So I'm just doing it sort of kind of double in the same week, but it's fine. I'm really enjoying doing this. I'm not working because I'm retired now, so it's really, it's just wonderful. My life in 2 years have completely changed, and yeah, it's been just, I'm so grateful to CoDA, and thank you very much for your service tonight. Pass.
Thank you, Christine. I did put links in the chat to the working steps 1, 2, and 3 using the 30 questions, and the follow-up document, working steps 4 and 5, using the 40 questions. Those documents come from Northern California CoDA, NorCal, and the people there worked really hard at putting these 2 documents together. Excellent material, information about organizing a Power of 5 group. Number of Power 5 groups get organized within meetings. People talk about forming Power 5 groups within meetings, both in person and online. There is a WhatsApp clearinghouse that helps people get together for Power or start Power 5 groups, because it is not a CoDA endorsed activity. I'm not going to put that link in the chat, but it is a WhatsApp group, and I think if you search for it, you can find it if you have an interest in finding out more about Power of 5 or being in a Power of 5 group. Karen, welcome.
Is that me? I don't know how to work this.
Hi, Kaga, welcome.
Hey, yeah, that's my name I use when I'm not in my support group. Anyway, Karen. Karen is a very proper person. She does not speak her mind. Kaga has learned that the truth sets you free. Anyway, I want to talk about sponsorship, and I apologize. I get so exasperated because I want to know how to work all these controls, which I want to say up front, David and James, thank you so much for, your technology expertise, bringing us into the 21st century, realizing the need for, more online connectivity, because that is the way the world is going. There's no doubt about it. But I also wanted to say, we can't forget World War I, World War II veterans. So, and I'm talking about veterans of CoDA, the people that were in this from the get-go 37 years ago, trying to be heard, trying to state their truth, just like all of us are doing. And because I think sometimes we forget them, and many of them, have passed. They probably weren't able to get 37, 38, 39, 40 years. But there are still some people that have actually been with CoDA since the beginning, and particularly the virtual meeting format, the beginning of online. So don't forget those folks, some kind of outreach with the whole meeting on that. And for me, sponsorship, co-sponsorship, whatever, I don't think that's a term we use. It's part of our CoDA recovery language. We have a lot of terms that we use in CoDA that are specific and unique to us. No crosstalk rules. Just a lot of things. There's too many to mention right now, but trust me, I know them after being in recovery for close to 40 years. I'm a believer. But any outreach call to a stranger is a sponsorship opportunity. In recovery, we learn because we hadn't had whatever is the culprit within our codependency, we learn to first and foremost set boundaries. I think mostly with ourselves first, or maybe others first. I mean, the procedure, the process is unique and incredibly spiritual for each one of us. And those 2 of us are alike. And so I've learned over the years that, I'm powerless. I can't control who I work with, who I share a program with. honestly, the people that I really would like to get in a step group with, they're not interested. They don't have the ability to do that part. Some of us have strengths in areas. You guys, David, James, the technology, the knowing how to, get all this stuff done through meetings and board meetings and contacts and visiting and issues. I'm grateful to you guys. I don't really have those skills and abilities, but when it comes to connecting with other codependents on a spiritual level, I am really good at that. So I just want to say I am grateful for my gifts. I am grateful for yours, but I know that folks just have to keep coming back. I heard those fundamental things repeated in a lot of the shares. First things first, learn the language of recovery. Find somebody that can go along with you. I think a lot of times that's the co-sponsorship. To just find another member that, okay, I guess that's the time. I got a couple things going on here at the house, but I'm just grateful to be here. You're all my sponsors. Every day is a sponsorship experience for me. If I'm connected and if I really want to heal and not relapse into my codependency. Because my codependency wants to kill me. Fear is the name on my face today. Thanks for letting me share. And thank you again, David, James. You guys are wonderful. Thank you. And everyone on the meeting.
Thank you, Karen, and immense breaking your anonymity.
David,
Okay, we do it to
mention,
God. We do it to God all the time, so it's okay.
We know each other too well. I apologize. Sorry. Okay. Anyone else? I've put a link to a document that comes from, it's been around for a while, from the Outreach Committee many years ago. And in wrapping up this meeting, rather than read or take up your time, I'll give a last share to anyone that would like to take it.
David, could I mention inmate sponsorship?
Yes, and I did put a link to the inmate email for inmate sponsorship,
Okay.
and that would be great if you would finish up with that, James, and we'll wrap up. Yes. I'm the inmate sponsorship coordinator, and I pair CoDA members up with inmates across the country. And we send a letter to them, and they write you a letter back, and you can work with the Green Book. We send them the Green Book before they get your letter, or you can do the 30 questions. It's your sponsee relationship, but it's very gratifying. And we probably have 60 or 70 pairs of people doing it right now. And it's all anonymous. You send your letter to Phoenix, Arizona, and they send it to the prison. So there's no danger of anything happening that way. And we keep all the information on an Excel spreadsheet. And that's where some of that stuff started, that the pairing of people on the spreadsheet. But it's a great opportunity if you want to start sponsoring. If you got a few years in and you want to try it, it's slow and it's easy. Nothing's easy in recovery, but it's slow, and you can take your time and communicate with an inmate and help somebody that really needs the help. And David put the link in the chat. Thank you. Thank you, James. Yes, I'll just add on to that, if I may, that the inmate sponsorship program is a project of the Hospitals and Institutions Committee, H&I, that does outreach work, sends books to institutions for free for people who are institutionalized, cannot get out. It sends CoDA literature for gratis, for free, to these institutions so that people can work their program, a CoDA program of recovery in these institutions. A lot of work that the Hospitals and Institutions Committee does. James and I are members of that committee as well. And thank you, James, for the work, for your service in that regard. And yes, There's no direct contact between inmates and sponsors. Between the sponsees and inmates communicate via the U.S. Postal Service, and there's the letters that the inmates send go to a mailbox in Arizona and then are forwarded from the service workers and the volunteers at CoDA to James, the inmate sponsor coordinator, and then he gets that material to the sponsor, who then replies back to that mailbox. So there's no direct contact. It helps maintain anonymity and safety. It's special conditions that we need to do when dealing with people who are incarcerated. So thank you for your service, James.
Thank you for mentioning it, David.
Are there anyone with a pressing need to share on sponsorship, their experience with sponsorship in CoDA? You have 3 minutes, and then I will wrap up. Great to see you all here today. Yes, Johnny, welcome.
Thank you, David. I just wanted to add that my sponsor's been in CoDA for 15 years now, I think, and she started us off with 10 questions. There are questions that we both had to answer, like how often do we want to meet? How long would we meet? They were 10 questions that set the boundaries for our relationship. How would we celebrate? What would we celebrate? What were our boundaries of intimacy? And those were really very thorough, and they really did set the foundation for our relationship. How often would we call? Can we call in the middle of the night? Or what are the boundaries of our phone calls and our texts? So it was really an eye-opener for me. And I really drove home the point how important it was to start off with good boundaries before we even did any kind of work, because boundaries certainly were an issue for me coming into CoDA. And then when we went into after we finished the 12 steps and went into the relationship that we have now, we review, we would review these 10 questions, like after we finished step 4, we decided whether we would continue on. So we review them and decide if we're going to go into long-term relationship as sponsor and sponsee, and were we both committed to the relationship. So it was always a reevaluation of the relationship and the boundaries of the relationship. And I thought that she did a really good job of setting expectations of what a good, healthy sponsor-sponsee relationship were. And she always stressed the point that we stayed within the limits of using the steps and traditions and CoDA literature, so that we kept it a really good CoDA program within our sponsor and sponsee relationship. And I really appreciate that, because I can take that into my relationship with my sponsees as well, so that I set a good example of CoDA sponsorship for them too. So if they choose to do it later, they have hopefully a good example to follow for themselves. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for everyone for your shares, for being here, helping to make the fellowship forum meeting today possible. And a couple of points that I do want to touch on. There is so much material on sponsorship in CoDA, we can't possibly cover it all in a 1-hour meeting. I want to mention the fact that I get as much benefit in my recovery by being a sponsor as my sponsees tell me they're getting. Working with sponsees has done amazing things in deepening my understanding of my recovery. I encourage everyone in this program to be a sponsee and a sponsor. This is how I recover, by doing step 12, sharing this message. And the CoDA Fellowship Forum meets on the last Saturday of every month. Next month's meeting will be March 30th. I can't tell you what the topic will be yet. We're talking to a number of possible speakers coming and sharing on the alternate format meeting voting entity that was created, became a voting entity in 2023. Also talking with people, the chair and members of the CoDA Teen project that is gaining traction, has started an online meeting. This is a very exciting area of development within CoDA for young people. Hopefully we'll be able to bring speakers from these and other CoDA committees and projects to the Fellowship Forum to talk about the work CoDA is doing, not just our experience, strength, and hope, the programs, progress, and problems, all available to talk about in the CoDA Fellowship Forum. We meet on the last Saturday of every month with a fresh topic and speakers. If you would like to be a speaker, get in touch with us at comm, C-O-M-M, at coda.org. Mention Fellowship Forum so that we know that it's about the forum. We meet at noon Pacific time, 1 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Atlantic. And because we're online, it's available around the world. We had someone from France, someone I think from the UK. So tell people about the forum. And yes, Albina, welcome.
Hello. Yes, I am from France, and you can see the link of CoDA Francophone Nadine. She is from Belgium. We have a question. I'm sorry to ask it. I don't know where to ask this question. We would like to know the link to be registered on coda.org.
Can I get back to you during fellowship? Can you stay on the line?
Yes.
Great. Will do. Let's wrap up today's meeting so that we can turn off the recording and then turn on our cameras if we like and continue in fellowship. We'll close today's meeting with the CoDA closing prayer. Unmute if you would like to stay along with me. The CoDA closing prayer. We thank our higher power for all that we have received from this meeting. As we close, may we take with us the wisdom, love, acceptance, and hope of recovery. Again, thank you all for being here. Your shares and your service help make this meeting possible today. God bless. Stay safe, be well. Hope to see you again next month at the Fellowship Forum.
Thank you.